It is 1:33 on May 15th, and this is episode 8 of Writing Walks. I'm your guide, Alex E. Talander. And today we're walking along the West Copeland Creek Trail. And I also have a special guest with me. I'm trying a little something different, and I brought my son along on this Writing Walks today. Owen Talander.
Hello.
We're going to try, see if we can talk about writing a bit, see what we have to discuss.
Well, I have been doing one book, writing a book called Spider Owen. That one I finished. Now I'm making one which I've been far into, in the 7th chapter. Spider Owen, I finished at chapter 5. It's called Minecraft Without Sky, because it's my favorite thing at Minecraft.
Well, let's talk about your first book, The Spider. You said, what was it called?
Spider Owen.
All right, so where did you get the inspiration for doing that book?
From Spider-Man.
Which one? Was it the Into the Spider-Verse movie?
Yeah.
So what made you decide, while you were watching it or after you finished watching it?
Yeah, I just liked the thing. I mean, I liked it pretty long before I even watched a Spider-Man movie.
So you just like Spider-Man, the superhero?
Yeah.
And then what made you decide, I want to write a story and make up my own story about it?
I just like writing.
Was it anything in the movie that you saw that made you think, well, I could write a story like this?
Yeah, but one part is with the dying and all. That's the part I didn't like.
So you weren't going to put that in your story? You didn't want to have any dying in your story?
No.
And where did the idea for your book come from? What idea did you come up with? How did you make it different from the Into the Spider-Verse movie?
Well, I thought of different things, just like when I got into the story, then it made me think of different things, like my friends, a home, parents, like that kind of stuff, important stuff. So
you were kind of writing from stuff you already knew about and putting that in the story?
Yeah, and also when I how do I think? When I had one idea, then that idea came with another idea that was attached to it. So an idea gave me another idea, giving me another idea. It's like idea gives me an idea.
So each idea you had led to another idea. That was when you were doing the writing, right?
Yes.
So you weren't really, because sometimes when you write a book, especially if you're going to write something long, you want to do what you call an outline, where you kind of make up your ideas for the story beforehand and just write some notes down so you know what you're going to write about. But you didn't want to do that, did you?
No, that's not exactly how I did it. I did idea, give me an idea of another idea. Nope, person coming up ahead.
Yep, so we're just going to stay to the side, okay? Keep walking, we can walk. But we're just going to keep 6 feet apart. We're going behind all people's houses here.
I think this trail is pretty nice.
It is pretty nice. Well, I like that it's away from the road and the cars and stuff, so we're not in the way at all. You know?
There's not too many people on this.
Yeah.
That is there.
So when you started writing the Spider Owen book, you didn't really start with any ideas. You just started writing and just let the ideas kind of come and form in your head. And then the more you wrote, the more ideas you came up with to do?
This is the introduction. Once there was a man named Spider Owen. And then that came me up with another idea. I can't remember what the next sentence was, since there's so many, and besides, I haven't looked at it in a very long time.
I remember you were saying you had the character. Is he called Spider Owen, the character?
Yeah, that's
the character. The character went to what was it, Spider University? Spider-Man University or something? Didn't he go to school to learn how to be a superhero, kind of?
Spider School.
Spider School. So he did that to kind of learn to become a superhero and stuff?
Yeah, the sticky webs.
So I wonder if maybe when you were watching Into the Spider-Verse, you wanted to find out how he got the abilities and powers that he did. And
this actually came to him.
mm-hmm.
From, I don't want to spoil it right now. But
Oh, okay.
maybe watch it.
Well, maybe a little few hints.
Yeah, but there was this kind of spider that gave him powers.
Mm.
And by the way, there's some scary, scary parts. It's dying.
Oh, in your book?
No.
No, in the movie.
Yeah.
I was talking about your book, though. Because you didn't put any of that in your book, did you? I know.
We can still say hi to people.
Yeah. But we want to keep our 6 feet of distance.
We could socialize with them.
Socialize.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But not get close to them.
Mm-hmm. So let's now talk about your other book.
That's the Witherstorm book.
Ah. So what's the idea? Where did that all come from?
The Minecraft story mode.
Minecraft story mode. Okay, so that was the one where... So it's not actually just playing the game of Minecraft. It was the Minecraft story mode that made you want to do it?
Yeah,
Was it?
besides, Witherstorm's on an Xbox 360 or iPad.
Mm-hmm. But I think watching the story of Minecraft story mode, which is more of a story instead of just playing the game, where you just build stuff, I guess when you were watching that, you were inspired to then write and make up your own story, huh?
Yeah. Besides, those have questions.
You what?
Those Minecraft story mode has questions exactly like the game Minecraft story mode Season 2. By the way, Season 2 is not coming out anytime soon. It's only because they stopped making it. Minecraft Story Mode Season 2 is only on game and YouTube.
Ah.
But the YouTube is going to be someone filming the game. So those are the only ways you can see Minecraft Story Mode.
So you were saying because you like the idea that they were asking questions during Minecraft story mode.
Yeah, but the other part is that it gives you a time limit.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part I don't like.
Oh, okay. You liked being free or not having to rush things or decide.
The time limit goes pretty fast.
So did you use like some of the same questions in your book that you're writing?
Don't do any questions. It's just telling you what happened. It's like the questions are. It's like Minecraft. You don't have any questions. You just did it and like questions. But then that main character chose the question for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how it is in Minecraft.
So let's talk about how you did it in your book then. Were you using some of those questions just to make up your own story and tell what you wanted? Or what? So what was your story? What was your book kind of about?
Well, a Witherstorm that they defeated, but then...
Who's they?
You're the stone.
Oh, okay, so the characters from the book. So you're doing like fan fiction, basically, writing off of Minecraft and doing your own story.
Yeah, but adding things like with the house with the Ender Dragon, that's actually what Soren does.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you again do the same thing like you did with the Spider Owen book, where you just wrote and let the story come out? Or did you think about some stuff and make some stuff up before?
I did that.
What? Which one?
Like Spider School.
So you just kind of wrote and let the story come out?
Yeah.
So what do you think is the hardest part about writing?
Well, coming up with the idea, that's always been the hardest thing for me.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you come up with an idea, do you like to think about it for a while, or do you just like to sit down and try and write it right away?
I try to think about it for a while, take a bunch of breaks.
Take a bunch of breaks?
Yeah.
Like to work out the details and work out the story you want to tell? What's going to happen, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
But that's all in your head, right? You don't write anything down until you're ready to write it?
Yeah. In the next episode on my Witherstorm book, I'm going to show, since Jesse made a Witherstorm to defeat the Witherstorm, that Witherstorm is going to get more powerful, and that Witherstorm is going to be able to lose.
Now, did that same thing happen in Minecraft story mode, or you were just making that up?
No, I just made it up.
Cool.
because there can only be one command block.
Oh, there you go. So you're taking the rules from Minecraft story mode and then changing them to fit your story. Yeah, it's windy here. So you're changing the rules kind of a little to make up your own story. That's cool. You can keep walking. That tree's pretty. So, is there anything you think that's easy about writing?
Well, coming up with ideas.
It's kind of easy when you start to...
You get like farther in the book, and then you want to write a long book.
So you say once you've got your idea, then it's a little easier because you know what you're going to write about?
Yeah, but then when it gets farther and farther in your book and you want to make a bigger book, then it gets really, really hard.
Why is that?
Because there's so many ideas already, and then you can't think of any more. That's the hard.
So you get kind of stuck then?
Yeah.
Because you don't know which way to go?
That's why I usually take a little break.
See, when I have things like that, what I like to do is let the characters decide. Because if you're kind of deeper into the story already, and you're knowing what the story you're trying to tell, you know your characters, you know how they work and how they kind of do stuff in the world you made up.
Yeah, but I already have another sentence.
But so that way, if you're not sure what to have next, you kind of just let the characters decide in a way, because you write them and they kind of tell you where they're going to go and what they're going to do. Make sense? That works for some people. I know other people get stuck. And then you get a thing, what's called writer's block. It's what they call when you get really stuck and you just can't write anything and you think everything's bad and you just want to kind of quit. And it's called writer's block.
But they never do actually.
What?
Quit.
No, you want to keep trying. All right, we're going to touch here and then go back. Actually, no, let's not touch.
Yeah, we should just do like an air touch.
There you go, air touch.
Wait, there's a bridge.
I know, we're going to go back over well... Yeah, but I don't think it leads to another trail. It just goes across over there. So we'll start going back.
Let's see what's across.
Hang on, careful, because cars are coming real fast. Yeah, there's no real trail over there. Okay, Owen, come back.
There's over there.
Yeah, but I don't want to cross here. Come on, let's go back. We're pretty far away from the car, so now we can make our way back.
Yeah. We could also follow
Ooh, that's pretty there too. It's also a what?
A road. See? Vehicles.
Well, it says no unauthorized vehicles.
Only vehicles. Only people that say to use a vehicle there.
Right.
But they usually don't now.
So what do you find most fun about writing?
Fun, just like the writing thing. I mean,
When you're actually writing?
When you're all done, it's like, oh, what do we read? Like,
Yeah, it feels good to be all finished and have something hard, done, and complete.
The hard part is if you want to type it out, you have to type it all out.
Yeah, there are some people that do that.
Copy photos.
Yeah, well, some people, like I type all my stuff all the way. I don't write anything with a pen and what they call it longhand when you write it out by pen. But there are some writers that do that, where they just write everything out in pen or pencil, the whole book, and then they type it up. But you see, they like to do that because when they start typing it up, they can edit it and make changes. They'll find, oh, this word actually works better here, or I don't really need this sentence anymore, or do different things that way. So that's why they like to type it up and edit it along that way, you see?
The problem is if I can't read it.
Oh, that's the other thing, too. It's the other good thing about typing.
Yeah, but what if you can't read it when you type it?
Well, that's the other problem, yeah. I'm just saying, so that way if you're typing it from the beginning, then you don't have that problem. But that's also why you're learning to write, and you practice it. And that's why writing a book is good, because it's practicing your writing.
Owen book with words was horrible.
Well, with the writing in it? Yeah, to compare them.
With that color pen. And I started using pencil.
Now, did you finish Spider, Owen?
Yes.
Good. And then what about your Minecraft Witherstorm book?
I haven't yet. That's what I've been saying. I've had a couple more sentences in my head.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you ready? You want to, when you get home, you want to start writing those?
Yeah, maybe.
That sounds good.
Ooh, dragonfly.
Now, have you had any other ideas about doing something else? Another project? Hey, look, caterpillar.
Oh.
Right here. Moving along. Just leave him when he wants to go across. Owen, just leave him alone, please.
I've never seen a caterpillar before.
Yeah, well, see all the colors and everything? They camouflage nicely. So they hide in the trees, the branches, and the roots and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, have you had any other ideas for another project, book, or story you want to do?
Maybe when I finish this book, I'll go on to something else.
Yeah, well, hopefully, yeah, because you always want to keep writing. Because, like reading or anything else, the more you do it, the better you get at it. It's practice. And the other good thing that makes you better at writing is, do you know what?
What?
What do you think?
Practicing a bunch and writing a bunch.
Mm-hmm. But what else has a lot of words that are useful to learn?
The dictionary.
Yeah. What about reading?
Yes.
Because when you read a lot, you learn new words. You learn the ways people talk to each other. You learn new ways of doing sentences and paragraphs.
Stories.
Mm-hmm. It can give you ideas for your own stories.
Even fiction books.
Mm-hmm. Oh, especially fiction books. Sometimes you can be stuck in a part of your book, and then you'll read some other books, and all of a sudden that'll help you get unstuck and realize how you can fix your book.
Get all the show, then it will help me remember it more.
Mm-hmm. So you're not really thinking about anything else right now? You'll just wait till you finish the Witherstorm book, and then you'll see if you want to do another thing? You don't want to plan too much? You just let it happen?
Yeah. I can choose not to or to not write another story.
Now, do you have any questions for me? Because I've been writing since I was,
Well, what?
15 or so? So a long time.
What is your last book that you wrote?
Well, I'm writing one right now.
Oh.
And I have a few books that I still haven't finished. Well, at least one that I haven't finished, which is to do with King Arthur and that whole time period, medieval period and stuff like that, which I want to get back to one day.
I've been reading one of Dad's books called Ostia.
Yeah, you read the book that was adapted from the show. That's right. Yep.
Yeah, I'm barely in. I'm like almost to the second chapter. I'm like two pages ahead, the middle of a chapter.
And one day I want to write a separate Ostium book series that has different stuff from happening in the show, but it all happens in the same world and kind of makes the story more complete.
But Jake's still going to be in it, right?
Probably, yeah. He'll come later on. I'm not sure yet. I think it's going to be a big, giant 10-book series I want to do of long books, but it's much bigger than the Ostium podcast.
Like you could include your family and stuff?
The thing is, when you include real people, or you say, oh, it's not really them, but then if that person does something not nice or something that the real person doesn't like, then they can get offended by it.
Well, you could also, ask them if they want to do this.
Well, that too, yeah. You should always get permission for things like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if I, used you in a book and then you were doing something silly, you might not like that, you see? But I might need to do it to make the story go along.
Yeah.
So that's why usually you'll see in most...
If you added me, I wouldn't matter at all.
Oh, you wouldn't mind? That's nice.
Yeah.
But most fiction books, if you look usually around the copyright page, it'll say the characters in this book are fiction. They're all made up and they're not based on any real people. Because otherwise some people might think, oh, that was based on me. I don't like that. Any other questions about writing you have?
What was your first book ever?
That's a good one. Let's do a photo real quick of the sky here. It's pretty. So what was the question again?
What was your first book ever?
That I wrote?
Yes.
I was 15 or 16, I think, yeah. And it was a book called Home by the Sea. And I wrote it on an electric typewriter.
Oh.
And I remember one cool thing about it, because it's like a typewriter, except it's electric, so it's really noisy. But the one cool thing is it had an erase button where it would use a little bit of whiteout to clear a mistake if you made one.
Well, the coolest thing is if you don't have to write it, you can also just on the computer, could get a blank piece of paper on it, and then you could type out your book, and then you could copy all the pages like that instead of having to write the whole story, and then type it out and then print it. So that way it's easier. And besides, if you use pen, it's not good.
Why?
Because you can't erase it.
I know. But some people are okay with that. Some people like to scratch out stuff and write notes around things. People have different ways of how they do their writing and how they edit their stuff and things like that. So that's why it works for some people. But yeah, so that first book was called Home by the Sea. I don't have it anymore, but I can vaguely remember in my head that it had... aliens in it. And that it was a house by the sea. That's about all. I thought it was a haunted house by the sea. That's what I remembered. So I was writing a haunted house story, but I was like, I needed to have something more. And so I added aliens.
My first book, you already know it, was Spider-Owen.
Which we've been talking about, yeah. Ooh, let's take a look down here.
This is like a jungle tree.
You gonna come down?
Whoa!
I just want to take a look down here. Oh, it's a way to get across over there. Well, I don't want to do that today. But look, let's look at the river here.
Yes.
I didn't know it was running here, this brook.
Wow, this is actually... Oh, that's cool.
No, let's not cross, Owen.
No, I can.
Okay, but you don't want to do a fail, Army.
Yes. That's why I'm walking very slowly. Hopefully this bridge doesn't...
So there you go, Owen. We kind of did something really different there, where we found this other little trail off the main trail, and now we're following it.
Story, it's like exactly like a story off a story.
Exactly, that's what I was going to talk about. It's what they call a tangent in a story, or a subplot, where you start talking about something else. And sometimes you can do it, and you don't know where it leads. And sometimes you might have to just go back or delete it all, get rid of it because it doesn't work.
Or maybe, what would happen if we were there?
I don't know. We're going to stick with this way, though, because this way is...
That could be our next thing, or next one.
We could try, but this way is heading back towards the car.
Yeah.
Right, well, I think this way is going to lead us back to the car, so we should be okay.
Well, we don't know because that way's going a little more right.
I know, we'll see. If it goes too far to the right, then we'll have to go back over the bridge, yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. Hopefully this time we don't do fail, are we? That's the most important.
So what books do you like to read?
Different books, like short books. I have read a couple. Dogman.
Dogman, you like those. So, and those are funny books, right?
Yeah.
You like comedy?
If you're wondering what Fail on Me is, it's the best show ever. Where people fail, like if you jump off a diving board, then they go like, whoop, then they just fall straight down. It's very weird.
Do you think you're going to want to keep writing all of your life?
No, probably not.
Why not?
Well, I could write stories now and then. That's what I'm probably going to do. Write stories now and then.
I got different occasionally. Well, here's my question. So, when you're writing a story, are you writing it for yourself? Are you writing it just because it's fun to do?
Yeah.
Hang on. Are you writing it for us to read? Or is it all of those things?
I'm writing for, anyone to read.
Anyone to read. So you want someone else to read it?
Yeah.
Because you want to tell this new story that you haven't done, that has been written before, and you want other people to read it. Because it seems like it's a thing you want to keep doing for the rest of your life. You have all these stories in your head to tell.
Yeah.
But I guess you want to say, you might write a story. It depends if you get an idea of the story and the story idea comes to you, right?
Yeah.
That's when you'll write a story. But if you don't have any ideas for a while, then you just won't write for a while, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, when I do every single of my ideas, then I take a really long like a month or so.
You know what I find is really good for giving me ideas for writing stories and working things out?
What?
Taking walks like this.
Definitely.
When I'm stuck on something or want to come up with something new, I just take a walk out in nature and just breathing and seeing and hearing everything. It helps get my brain going and thinking about stories and writing and stuff.
Even places that are by your house.
Yep.
Even like the field, the road, anything. You know what? And I wish I learned this earlier. Than on just today.
As a writer or what?
Yeah, but I just thought of it. Anything you want can be in a story. Aliens, we don't even know if they exist. A map, robots.
And the cool thing is, it doesn't cost money when you're writing a story to make up stuff. Like if you're making a movie, it's going to cost money if you want to shoot it in space, do it in space, and you have to make all these special effects and stuff, you know? Or if you're doing a TV show or a play or things like that, you always have to set it for a stage. Whereas with writing, it's all going on in your head and it's all going on the page.
Yep.
Right? Do you want to help break that for you?
Yes. Yeah, I have a cat tail. And I put it for my tail.
So yeah, you're saying you can make up anything in a story and put it in there, and it's totally fine because you're just making it up, and there's no limits.
Dad, we're too far almost.
I know. I'm starting to feel like we have to go back because I don't see a way to cross there. Let's head back this way.
Yay! Now we get to go across the bridge. Stay alive. No, I'm just kidding.
Yep. But yeah, you were talking about an important thing there, where there's no limits to when you're writing, what you can put in there, and what you can do. And the important thing is, too, no one can tell you to say, well, you can't do that. It's like, well, you can. It's your story, and you can do what you want.
We also say, but one thing about writing does cost money.
What?
Publishing it for the whole entire world.
Well, yeah, that's a whole different thing. But that's what I was saying. If you want to try and get millions of people to read yours, then you need to publish it. But if you just want a few people to read it, then you can just type it up and print it out and give it to people.
These are like
Let's keep walking.
trees from the jungle.
They are. They're very nice. It's like a hanging willow type tree.
Unless this is a jungle.
No, it's just a wild nature area.
It's like a mini jungle.
Well, it's because it's got the creek here, you see, so that's why it's so green with all the stuff growing.
Yeah. Jungles do have trees.
But yeah, that's actually one thing I would definitely say I like most about writing is there's no limits. You can do whatever you want. You can put in whatever you want. Now, you do have to make it so that it works for the story you're telling and the characters.
Yeah.
Like if you had a character who lived in a home and wanted to go to space, they couldn't just, buy a plane ticket to space all of a sudden. You'd have to create rules and stuff for that system to say, well, they have rocket ships that go to space, and the person just won the lottery, so now they can go to get that ticket to space, They can't just do it automatically. So that's why you do have to do a bit of setup when you're creating fantastical things, things that are less likely. But I think that's also why people like to read fictional stories of what they call speculative fiction, which is your fantasy, your science fiction, your horror, the stuff. Yeah, all the made up stuff that's kind of not normal, not your normal everyday stuff. Because we live our lives and we do our jobs, our daily jobs, or you go to school, and a lot of it's pretty much the same and predictable what's going to happen. Whereas in a story, you can make anything up and anything can happen. And I think that's why people enjoy reading stories. That's definitely why I enjoy reading fantasy and science fiction stories, to see where things are going to go and see what's going to happen next. And it's something I'm not going to get to experience in my lifetime, but I want to read about it in other stories.
But one lifetime.
You get to experience some stuff, yeah.
Most of it.
You'll get to experience, yeah.
Because you have been doing other things longer in your life.
Mm-hmm.
I have a way longer life ahead.
Yeah, well, like, when I was younger, I could have read about the internet before it even existed, which I didn't do, but I could have done. Because I grew up before the internet existed and before everyone had a computer, and now it's standard. Before everyone had a little computer on their cell phone, which is what those are. I've read some stories, some science fiction stories about those, and then those came true.
And there's stuff about Minecraft now, and Minecraft didn't exist before.
Mm-hmm. And here's the other thing, too, is when you're reading a lot of these fantastical stories and made-up stuff, it can help inspire you to actually try and make them for real. So, like, you can be building stuff in Minecraft, and then when you're older, maybe you'll become a computer scientist or a video game developer or an engineer or some other kind of scientist.
Or a person who builds worlds for people.
Yeah, well, who does an architect or whatever, and then you can actually try and make this happen. Here's the trail here. So you can actually try and...
What I mean by is like build worlds for people.
Mm-hmm.
Build like Minecraft worlds.
Well, that too, yeah. But I mean, you kind of got the idea from Minecraft when you were building that world there, and then maybe you become an architect, and then you're going to make this building that you built in Minecraft. That's why these kind of creative games are really important to help inspire you. Okay. All right, it's a good solid bridge. We're okay.
But that also scares me because...
Well, just it's a good wide plank, so just walk slowly.
Ooh, that's cool. The water is getting red.
It's because of the roots and leaves underneath. You can take bigger steps. You're okay. Just walk normally. There you go.
To break.
No, it's not.
Then why is there a crack in it?
It's because it's an old plank, but it's still okay.
It's like a wooden plank.
Mm-hmm. Woof.
Oh. Oh. Stop barking. Stop barking, wolf.
That's not yell.
So you know in Minecraft that wolves can be used for actually doggies.
For what?
Doggies.
Doggies?
And
Oh, you
also-
can make pets of them?
But the an easier way is to write, instead of writing in real life, you can also write in Minecraft.
How?
You just have to get a book and quill.
Oh, you can do that as a character in Minecraft?
Yes.
But can you make up a story that way?
Yes.
That's cool. I didn't know that. So you can do a story within a story.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of a cool thing to put in a book almost, where like a person who disappears or something, and no one knows what happened, but their good friend knows that they're a big Minecraft player. So they go into their world to check their Minecraft world, and then they find that their character's written a story there, and they open up the story that tells them what happened to that person in real life. That'd be kind of cool. All right, so we're almost back to where we started. So, any last things you want to say about writing or questions you have?
I've enjoyed this walk.
Good. I've enjoyed it too, yeah. It's a nice day and everything.
After all, it is my first time. If you wonder what age I am, I'm age 6.5.
Uh-huh.
Almost 7. August 3rd.
All right, well, I think we'll start doing we got anything else to say?
Well, I do like writing also.
I know you do. That's why I wanted to talk about writing with you today.
Yes. Because that's what you usually talk about. Ooh, there's also a little path.
Yeah, but we'll stick to this one.
Yeah. You don't feel that goes farther, but...
Well, this is about exactly the right length we wanted today. So I think we're going to wrap this episode up today. It's a good stopping point.
Thanks for watching this.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Thanks for downloading and subscribing. I hope you enjoyed our surprise guest today, Owen Talander, my son.
Maybe I get to be on another one.
Maybe, we'll see. If people ask for it, might have to bring you back, yeah.
Yes.
I have new episodes coming out on the 1st of every month. If you go to the Ostium Patreon, which is patreon.com/OstiumPodcast, you can get access to all the photos I take from today, as well as the audio. And I think for this special episode, I'm going to post the complete audio, unedited too, of all of us, of Owen and I doing a little chit-chat back and forth, because there's some funny bits in there that I'll probably cut out from the episode. but I'll post it into the full version. So you can get access to all that for as low as $2 a month on our Patreon. Again, that's patreon.com/OstiumPodcast. Again, appreciate you listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.
And the coolest thing is that I'm following him on Patreon. Goodbye.